Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. This is episode 536 of the Daily Dope. This is your first time joining me, let me point out this is very, very casual, just hanging around, talking tabletop gaming. So we chat about the latest news about board games, card games, role-playing games, miniatures. If it's going on your tabletop, we're probably talking about it. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little bit about PC games, a little pop culture, but for the most part, it's pretty much all tabletop gaming around these here parts. So do want to mention that if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it also let you know when I upload standalone videos as well, such as the upcoming first look at The Adventurer's Guide to Theria, Volume 1. So that is on the horizon. In fact, it'll be up tonight. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Of course, because this is a live stream, that also means that there is chat available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, maybe you've got a comment, by all means, fire away. I will do my best to respond. So far in chat, we've got John Vogel and Martin O'Brien. Welcome aboard, gents. So already, it looks like we're getting some drop frames again. What is going on around here? This is weird. Right off the bat, as soon as I started the stream, I noticed it kind of bopped down. Then, when I was kind of explaining, oh yeah, chat's available, I noticed it was bouncing all over the place again. I don't know. I have no idea. It's weird because we didn't have any issues for months. I mean, every once in a while we might do an entire show and see 400 drop frames. Already tonight we're at over 2,000 drop frames. And the stream is all of almost 4 minutes old. Jeez. I don't know. Well, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? So hopefully you checked out last night's show. We were celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Gaming Gang. Yes, we had some fun with that. Had some weird droppage issues as well, but luckily, when the stream dropped, it only dropped for a few seconds and reconnected right away. Otherwise, we'd have been screwed, because then YouTube would have broken the video into 2 videos, and that would have been just a major disaster. So also want to point out, it is once again just really, really muggy down here in the Duct Tape Studios. It was nice and cool earlier today, and as the afternoon progressed, humidity is just rocketed up. So anyway, little warm here. All right. So, moving right along, let's jump on into the news because I've got a good selection of news tonight. First off, Sinister Fish Games has launched a Kickstarter for their latest title, I've Got the Dope On Streets. Designed and illustrated by Ankama Gardner. Sorry, it's not an easy name to pronounce, I'll tell you that much. Streets is an easy-to-learn tile-laying game for 1 to 5 players where you build new streets in a growing city. Through careful planning and placement, the aim is to make the most money from selling your buildings. The city is populated by increasing numbers of people, wooden meeples, each with their own preferences. These hipsters, tourists, shoppers, and parents increase the value of any buildings they occupy, and they move from street to street as they're scored. You'll need to locate your buildings carefully and attract the right crowd to earn more than your opponents. Streets is really easy to teach. If one person knows the rules, you can open the box and be playing in less than 5 minutes. Here's the basics. On your turn, place a building into the city. Add meeples according to the color and number of icons at the bottom of the tile you played. You'll also add an ownership token in your player color. 2. When a street is closed, all buildings in it are sold for money. Calculate how much each building is worth based on the valuation in the top right corner, adding $1 for every meeple. 3. Meeples move to new buildings. The player who enclosed the street moves the meeples onto a new building or new buildings of matching colors on unenclosed streets. Meeples who can't move stand up and get FOMO, fear of missing out, and they'll move immediately to matching buildings when new ones are built. Earn the most money to win. There are lots of opportunities to create scoring combos and to profit from other players' buildings. The number of meeples in play increases as the game goes on, raising the stakes and the tension. Though the game is suitable for new gamers, these dynamic mechanics create a lot of depth that seasoned gamers will enjoy. There is a quick Kickstarter video. It's a little less than 2 minutes long. So let's kick back and give it a watch.
The city is the place to start a business right now. After the Big Head was discovered, the tourist industry is booming. Start a hotel or a souvenir shop, or maybe cater to the hipsters with a microbrewery or an art gallery. You could invest in affordable homes for all the families moving in, or maybe a fashion outlet for classy shoppers. The city is expanding, reinventing itself, and attracting all kinds of people. Let's build the city together, building by building.
Streets is a tile-laying game where players build a city together, one building at a time. Every street is a small tableau of buildings with values that depend on their location. Wooden meeples generate extra income and represent different demographics of people. These are hipsters, parents, shoppers, and tourists. Scoring of a street is triggered when it becomes enclosed by other streets on both sides. When that happens, players sell their buildings and collect money. This also makes the people in the street move to other buildings matching their demographic, increasing their value. Streets is a game for 1 to 5 players that takes 30 to 60 minutes to play. It's really easy to teach, making it an excellent family game. The variety of buildings and the way they combine gives the game a lot of replayability. Please help us make Streets a reality by backing the game on Kickstarter today.
Streets is once again for 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in 30 to 60 minutes. You can reserve a copy of the game for a $31 pledge through October 1st, with an expected delivery in June of next year. Do want to mention there is also a deluxe version. Off the top of my head, I don't recall what the pledge is, but you were seeing some of the components from the deluxe edition in that video as well. So for an example, in the deluxe edition, the meeples all look like little people. as opposed to the standard edition, the base edition of the game. They're just meeples. They're cut out meeples. They don't have any sort of print or anything on them. So just wanted to point that out. But to get the base game, you simply need a $31 pledge through October 1st. This is completely funded. It's, I think, probably about 700% funded when I took a peek last. And this just launched yesterday. So there is also from Sinister Fish, I want to say the title of the game is Villagers. I think it's Villagers. I don't think it's Villages. And the fine folks over at Sinister Fish were supposed to be sending me a copy to review. So, and I have heard good things about that game too. So it also has kind of a similar vibe to Streets. So we'll see what happens. Very cool. So I do see Flaming Huron and Jorge Rodriguez are joining us in chat. Good to see you both. Thanks for swinging on in for tonight's show. So Jorge says, I'm late. Actually, Jorge, you're a little earlier than usual. Usually, like last night, you got in just under the gun. Let's move on to my next news piece because French publisher Ankama, I believe that's how it's pronounced, has revealed a new title for 2021. And here's the dope on Nile Artifacts. Welcome, traveler, to the ancient waters of the Nile. As many new temples are built on the shores, you begin your spiritual journey to earn the favors of the gods. Pick up precious artifacts while you sail up and down the Nile River. Offer them to the monuments currently being built, and the gods shall bless your travel. Each turn in Nile Artifacts, you move your ship forward, stopping at one of the 9 ports and picking up one of the artifact cards available there. You may also pick up gold, which can be used to obtain more artifacts, or to turn your ship around and sail the Nile in the opposite direction. Once every ship has arrived at one end of the Nile, players can make their offerings to the monuments currently in construction, each of them requiring a different type or combination of artifacts. Whenever a monument is completed, players receive victory points depending on the amount of donations they have made towards this particular monument. When offerings are done, the ships go back on the Nile to travel in the other direction and pick up more artifacts. Once the monument deck is empty, the player with the most victory points wins. Nile Artifacts is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 20 to 30 minutes. This is a brand new game that was announced. There is no release date outside of next year. That's all I know. There is no MSRP info either. But one of the interesting aspects that I had noticed regarding Ankama is they're known for more kind of anime inspired games. And they also, they do board games. I think they do some card games. They do computer games, console games. So they are doing a lot of different games, but they all kind of have an anime influence, except for this. This looks pretty much kind of like a standard Euro. And the artwork, from what we can see, does not have kind of an anime-inspired look to it. Could be kind of interesting. I like games about ancient Egypt. I don't know what it is. But then again, I am a fan of ancient history as well. So, speaking of history, it is Wednesday. I like to talk about war games on Wednesday. So let's talk about a wargaming Kickstarter, because Canvas Temple Publishing has a new Kickstarter to print a new edition of Admiral's War, World War II at Sea. Here's the dope. This project is for a reprinting of Admiral's War, World War II at Sea, and a new expansion that incorporates the Black Sea, as well as 2 new counter sheets full of new ships. AW has been Canvas Temple Publishing's most successful game to date, and the first edition of the game sold out in a matter of weeks. Conditions are now right for us to bring this campaign to reprint this game, plus a new expansion for all those who missed it the first time. But for a few minor corrections, The base game is identical to the original with mounted maps, but without the oversized paper maps that were included in the original. There's also, what in the world? Somehow text was all messed up. However, the additional expansion offers a new Black Sea map, loads of new ship classes, a deck of Section 41 playing cards, and new advanced U-boat rules. Admiral's War, World War II at Sea, is a board game recreation of the strategic naval situation in World War II, from the early months of the Atlantic War to the decisive Battle of the Philippine Sea in late 1944. All the major combat ships in the Axis and Allied navies are portrayed in the game in a simple, but not simplistic, simulation of the war on a strategic level, with most of the tactical details represented by simple game mechanics. The resulting game is fast-paced and fun to play while remaining true to history. Much of AW has some similarity to the mechanics used in Avalon Hill's classic game Victory in the Pacific, applying a modern application to the sea wars in both the Atlantic and the Pacific. This game combines both theaters into one game. Players familiar with these older titles will immediately notice that the map board represents the Pacific, and it has some similarities, to its predecessor, whereas the map of the Atlantic theater has greatly changed. This was done to more seamlessly combine the mechanics of the two games and to better reflect the nature of the Atlantic naval fighting. Admiral's War, World War II at Sea is for 2 to 4 players. You can reserve a copy of the game for a $74 pledge with an expected delivery in July of 2021. Cool. I am a big naval, well, especially from the Age of Dreadnought on, I'm a big fan of naval war games. Once again, played a lot of Fletcher Pratt's naval war game, which isn't necessarily really like a standard kind of like hex and counter war game, but always been a big fan of naval warfare games. So this looks pretty good. Looks like it's pretty in-depth as well. I took a look to try to get some information as far as like gameplay time, and it's supposed to play in like 5 hours or more. So this is probably a good time burner, I guess we'll say. Moving on to some role-playing game news. In October, Free League Publishing is going to release the latest outing for Forbidden Lands. Here's the dope on the Crypt of the Mellified Mage. Lit by guttering candles, the time-worn saint's shrine still reeks of burnt offerings. Plaster dust floats in the still air as you smash away a mosaic depicting a wondrous leader tending wounds with a honeyed touch. Eyes becoming bright and clear, limbs vital rather than withered. The dead rise from their graves and dance about him. As the mural crumbles beneath your determined blows, a blackened iron door is revealed, decorated with the image of a bee. The air beyond is stale, yet tinged with the putrid smell of spoiled meat and something oddly floral. This volume collects 4 adventure sites for Forbidden Lands. Within these pages, you'll visit a dungeon of dripping honey, explore a firing pit for magical pottery, stand in awe of the temple of a Monkey King, gotta love the Monkey King, and go on a dizzying tour through the mind of a mad mage. This book contains The Crypt of the Mellified Mage by Fiona Mauve Geist, who is actually, I think that's the author of Mothership. The Firing Pit of Lao Yu Tao. I don't know, some oddball name. And that is by David McGrogan, who did Yun Sun. Temple of the Six-Limbed Lord by Zedek Su, 1,000 Islands, and The Dream Cloud of Elokthir by Adam Cabell, associated with Dungeon World, with art by Alvaro Tapia. This 80-page hardcover is going to carry an MSRP of $23.99, when it arrives in October. The PDF is actually available right now at Drive-Thru RPG for $9.99. Cool. I am a fan of the Forbidden Lands. I like it. I really like the system as far as it's got the old school vibe to it. And it also uses kind of a little bit of a modified year one engine. And it's very easy to teach people how to play it. Very, very simple to get them involved with, because essentially you're rolling dice, you're rolling 6-sided dice. If you get a 6, you succeed. And you have a pool of dice you'll roll from. If you get a 6, you succeed. If you don't get a 6, you don't succeed. Pretty simple. But I just dig it. I dig it very much. Finally finished reading The Bitter Reach as well. So I'm going to try to turn that review around in the next 2 to 3 days. So we will have that out. My final news piece. There's an interesting looking D&D adventure. It's available from author Celeste Konowich, and it's over on the Dungeon Masters Guild. Here's the dope on Dino World. Explore an abandoned dinosaur theme park in search of your quarry. But beware, predators of all sorts stalk the crumbling ruins and toppled tourist attractions of Dino World. Dino World is an Eberron Oracle of War salvage mission for Tier 2 characters that can be completed in 3 to 4 hours. It is Adventurers legal if used in conjunction with the salvage bases and missions supplement. Dino World was designed with the Eberron setting in mind, but it can be easily adapted to most fantasy settings and makes a great one-shot game or side quest. As an added scaly bonus, it uses every single dinosaur stat block published for 5e. This is a DM's Guild Adept product. The Dungeon Masters Guild Adept program brings talented individuals together for creative development. Guild Adept products are identified with the golden ampersand. This 19-page PDF adventure, Dino World, is available right now. It is one of the top sellers at the moment over at DM's Guild, and it's $3.99. Nice. Very cool. Once again, always, for some strange reason, it's like the little white hairs, which I know that's Pinky, because Smokey's a black cat. She doesn't have black hair. For some strange reason, I'll be sitting here doing the show, and I'll see a little hair go blowing past me, and it's like attracted right to my nose. Comes right to my nose. Ah, yes. Melwinius from York has popped in. Good to see you, Melwinius. Wow, that was fast. That was a fast news segment, wasn't it? 23 minutes? Actually, not even 23 minutes, because I didn't even get into the news until about 5 minutes into the stream. Kind of weird. Kind of wild. Anyway, so I was talking about the Dungeon Masters Guild. Once again, so we got disconnected again. This is just bizarre. What's going on here the last couple of days? All right, let me go check something here. I mean, we had some issues with some drop frames early on. In fact, right as we started the show. And then for about the first 5 minutes we were seeing some jumping up and down. And then everything was fine. Everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, it just popped up and said, oh, OBS. I use OBS Studio to do the stream, in case anybody's wondering. It popped up and just said, disconnected. I'm like, what? Usually it disconnects when I see it, going, uh-oh. Weird. Thankfully, the disconnection was only for a few seconds, so we should be okay. This will be all one video. I don't have to upload my recording. So hopefully everybody's still hanging out there in chat. Hopefully nothing has changed there. So yeah, I got to figure out what the hell is going on with the stream lately. Something's up. Something is going on here. And it is not Windows trying to do an update or anything like that. Kind of weird, right? All of a sudden, September 1st, this starts. That's a little suspicious. Because, I mean, we've had drops and things like that. We've had drop frames and stuff in the past, but lately, things have been really, really, really perfect almost as far as the stream itself. I mean, every once in a while, we'll see like 43 drop frames. But before that disconnection, we were showing like 2,400 drop frames, like 3% of the stream to that point. Those frames had been dropped. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? I have had a good day. I enjoyed last night's show, although it was very odd. So Jorge Rodriguez is saying the video is slightly off from the audio. That might be something due to the disconnection. So everybody else chime in. Let me know what's cooking there as far as if you are getting the audio not being in sync as well. I'll wait. I'll wait a little bit. Anyway, so I was going to show you what video I've got coming out later on tonight. Okay, so Malwinia says everything's fine there. John Vogel says that everything seems to be in sync as well. Cool. All right. Disavowed 92. Hey, that's someone new in chat. Welcome aboard. All good there. So, sweet. All right, cool. So I was a little concerned for a second because I can go in and resync the audio a little bit. It's just kind of trial and error. That's why it's kind of screwy. So Flaming Heron says, well, my lips are moving and words are coming out. Yes, so hopefully it does not look like this is like an old Japanese dub. So anyway, so right before we got disconnected there, I was talking about last night's show. I had a lot of fun. It was nice to have Elliot pop in and hang out and chat. I will point out that I am sure I missed a ton of stuff that was going by in chat because we had a good number of people hanging out. I think at one point, the most viewers we had concurrently last night was 19. So I know people think of Twitch streamers and stuff like that, like 19 watching at the same time. Give me a break. That's nobody. Well, usually Board Game Geek, their streams, they get about 125 people watching live, depending on what it is. So, you know what? 19 people, I'm not going to complain. That's pretty good. So, kind of cool. Kind of cool. So I had a good time. I had fun. It was a little frustrating, the weird hiccups as far as the frame rates and drop frames, but yeah, it is what it is. Nothing I could do. So I see that today is September 2nd. So it's MD, not ND. Hey, yay. I had everything all set up for today early. Anyway, later on tonight, I will be unleashing, because it's already up on YouTube. It's just not public yet. The page through first look at the Adventurer's Guide to Theria, and it is volume 1. It is Ilaria. I'm not familiar with the Dungeons and Randomness podcast, so I have to keep looking to see what is the name of this continent again. So this is going to be up. It'll be live probably within about a half hour of the show finishing up, because it's all good to go. I just figured I'd wait till after the show to unleash it. And I got to say, I'm really impressed. There is loads of information in this book. Really, really top-notch production quality on it as well. I'm actually curious to give a listen to the Dungeons and Randomness podcast to listen to some of the adventures, because some really cool stuff in here. So if you are interested in what might be kind of a cool 5th edition source book, check out the page through. It'll be up later on tonight. So also received a package from Renegade Game Studios, which it has been a while since I did a review of anything from Renegade. So very cool. I got Stellar, which is a space game. I think it might be an astronomy game. It is a card game. That much I can tell. As well as Gates of Delirium. You scary kids, scary. Mm-hmm. So this looks kind of Lovecraftian. I know these have both been out for a while, but this so I was taking a peek at the box a little bit, and it's talking about how the action cards have like a sane and insane side to them. So it depends on, I guess, whether your characters are sane or insane. So allowing you to do different things with the cards, which is actually something that Lovecraft Letter did. Some of the cards had different actions that you could take depending on if you were sane or insane. I like Lovecraft Letter a lot. I really do. Really enjoyed that. I know my nephew Cameron and his friends all really enjoyed it too. All right. Anyway, anything cooking in chat? Anything anybody wants to address? I know, as I was mentioning, there was a lot of stuff zipping by in chat yesterday. I do apologize if any of you who are watching now were like asking questions and I completely, zoned out on it, didn't catch it. So anyway, seems pretty quiet in chat, I guess. All right. Well, I guess it's going to be a quick show tonight. As I like to point out, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell. It'll not only let you know when I stream the Daily Dope live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, also tell you when I upload my other videos, such as my first look at the Adventurer's Guide to Theria Volume 1. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, everybody who hung out watching live tonight, thank you very much for bumming around with me, keeping me company while I just babble on into the ether. But if you don't have an opportunity to watch live, maybe you watch on Memorex. I certainly appreciate that as well. I really, really do appreciate anybody who takes out a little bit of time to watch me pontificate, both live and in the various different videos. Really, really do appreciate that. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night / Thursday morning. I will be back tomorrow. And as I close out my videos, unfortunately, during this pandemic, let me once again remind you to please be smart, stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, let me point out that the things I'm going to be pointing at, if you are just watching the Daily Dope stream, you may not see what I'm pointing at. Usually it will take about 12 hours once the stream is finished for YouTube to allow me to add my end screen. But if you're watching one of my other videos, such as my reviews or interviews, first looks, pastures, what have you, well, then by all means, click right here and you can subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel. If you click right up here, you'll find the latest episode of my live stream, The Daily Dope. And if you click over here, that's going to show you something that YouTube thinks you might like. Regardless, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and thank you very much for watching.